In this video, I'm going to be breaking down every bit of information I was able to find regarding Brandon's most hyped book so far, Stormlight Archive 5. To date this video for you, right now it is August 2023, and in Brandon's latest weekly update, he surpassed the 60% mark on the book's first draft. Assuming Brandon is able to stay on pace, Stormlight 5 is expected to release in November 2024, with a release party taking place at the yearly Dragonsteel convention. It has been announced that the book's tentative official title is Knights of Wind and Truth, although Brandon has said that he may shorten this to just Wind and Truth. This book will undoubtedly be Brandon's biggest book ever, and it has a lot of plot threads that need to be addressed, the biggest of which being the Contest of Champions, presumably between Dalinar versus the unknown champion of Odium's newest vessel, Taravangian. As always, the book will be split into 5 parts with interludes in between. Like all previous Stormlight books, we will get a main focal character to feature flashbacks for, and Wind and Truth will be Szeth's book. During a couple of Stormlight updates, Brandon went into some detail on the structure of Wind and Truth, as well as sharing some official concept art. Brandon talks about how he's writing the book in different sections based on character pairings and such. Section 1 will feature Kaladin and Szeth, Section 2 will mainly be Shallan and Dalinar with some Navani and Renarin mixed in. Brandon anticipates Section 1 and 2 taking up around 150,000 words apiece. Then Section 3 is a cleanup featuring notable characters Adolin, Jasnah, and Venli, taking up about 100,000 words. Finally, after that will be the interludes along with some other characters that he didn't name drop, consuming the remaining 50,000 words. Brandon uses Rlain as an example to this, saying how Rlain will appear in the Renarin chapters, and in a previous word of Brandon we got it confirmed that the Rlain and Renarin romance that was teased in Rhythm of War will be canonized in Wind and Truth. While this revelation of the way Brandon is tackling writing this book in sections doesn't give us an exact order, since a lot of these sections will likely alternate, it does however indicate some possible character pairings and potential screen time. The first concept art image shows Kaladin and Szeth together in what will likely take place in part 1 of the book on their mission to Shinovar to confront Ishar. This character pairing will undoubtedly be interesting, and one can't help but notice that future therapist Kaladin is being sent toward a madman. The second concept art image depicts the climactic scene of Dalinar traversing his final few fateful steps to the top of Urithiru to begin his Contest of Champions with Taravangian. It will be interesting whether the Odium shard swap will be revealed to him before this moment. Personally, I hope it's a last-minute surprise for Dalinar. The entire first draft of the prologue has actually already been released and can be read or listened to on Brandon's website and YouTube channel. During some in-person events, Brandon has also read aloud 3 flashback sequences for Szeth, along with the first 2 chapters of the book, and most recently, a Jasnah chapter involving Wit. I'm going to quickly summarize what they're about, but I will have links to them in the description should you wish to read them in their entirety. This is the longest released section and is also the final piece to the Gavilar assassination sequence shown in every book, this time told through Gavilar's own POV. You'd be better off reading this section yourself, but it does have a guest appearance from Ghostblood leader Kelsier and shows Gavilar being awful. Szeth did Rashar a favor, to be honest. Kaladin feels more stable emotionally and spends some much needed time with his family. It's a more intimate section that slows down the pace despite only having a number of days until the fateful Duel of Champions. In Chapter 2, Kaladin heads to a meeting with Dalinar, but is stopped by Hoid for what may be their last interaction. Kaladin is given a new flute and taught music. Hoid is cryptic but stresses that Kaladin will only succeed when you don't play music with your own breath, and when you'd fight without your own muscles. Play the flute, but don't. Fight, but don't. The whole section reads like a kind of final goodbye. Kaladin then heads to the meeting with Dalinar and intends to depart to Shinovar with Szeth in order to provide therapy to the completely mad Ishar. Also notably, in these chapters, Syl is taking the form of a regular-sized girl more and more, as well as being drawn to the new bondsmith Navani. The chapter opens with Jasnah unable to sleep, stressing over her relationship with Wit while in bed with him. Wit isn't really sleeping, but instead sifting through his recent memories. Hoid bolts awake and reveals to Jasnah that he had been duped and is missing 3 minutes and 27 seconds. Hoid reveals that the missing section is from his meeting with Raze, which Jasnah was not informed about until just then. This revelation of Raze now being unpredictable both surprises and terrifies Hoid. Hoid doesn't yet realize that the shard Odium now has a different vessel. Hoid concludes that he must contact an old friend to help look for loopholes that he may have missed in the contract. Jasnah realizes her relationship with Wit is over since Wit won't stop lying to her and never truly confides in her. We see Szeth and his family of sheepherders in their homeland, which is constantly being plagued by raiders. Szeth is conflicted with decision making and the idea of what is right, after having just been put in an awkward moral decision by his family. Later, after relocating from the raiders, his favorite sheep Molly goes missing, and Szeth chooses for himself this time and decides to go back toward the danger in order to look for his sheep, against his better judgment. In one of Brandon's podcast episodes with Dan Wells, he inadvertently teases a major plot twist for Wind and Truth that's based on an old D&D campaign he once played. I'll go ahead and play the clip.
That was the big final showdown. Brandon had built this thing.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be.
Don't tell this one, because I'm actually going to use this in a book.
Oh, you're going to use this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I've been
I'm not going to
waiting
say anything
for
about
years
this.
to use this in a book. So
Okay.
don't say anything.
We're going to keep this.
Yeah. After
quiet.
I use it in a book, you can tell the story.
Then we'll say, oh,
Yes.
by the way, that thing, Little Grunt was there.
Yes, Little Grunt was there. You guys are going to love this. It is involved in the ending of Stormlight 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I'm excited.
So
I'm very
yes.
excited. Is
Um,
it going to go?
I will tell you off camera
yeah.
how it's going to go.
No more spoilers there.
Let's just say I came up with one of the best endings for a story that I have ever come up with. And because it's role-playing, the PCs did not play along.
Ruined it completely.
Ruined it completely. And I'm like, I'm going to use that someday. And I actually put it right in the outline to Stormlight like a week or two later. And it's been waiting all of this time to be used.
A week or two later, and that would have been like 99. So
Yes.
it's been waiting a long time in the wings.
It's been waiting a long time to come. So that's why I'm hoping that it doesn't get spoiled.
Afterwards, Brandon responded in the comment section addressing this. I will read it directly because it is, in my opinion, the single most interesting factoid that has come up so far and hypes me up even more for this book. Brandon says, Book 5's ending has had literally 20 years to brew in my head, and I've been pushing toward it from Book 1. When you read it, I think it will recontextualize a ton of important other moments in the series, so I really, really hope it lands right with people. I've been holding on to this one in reserve for a long while, as I feel it's one of the legitimately best ending ideas I've ever come up with for a story. Not to overhype it, the execution is everything for a story like this, and it's still possible what works in my head will not work as well on the page. I just really hope it will. And let me just end this section by repeating that line. I feel it's one of the legitimately best ending ideas I've ever come up with for a story. This is coming from the man who is known for his endings. Knights of Wind and Truth will be the end of the first arc of the Stormlight Archive. There will be a second arc, which will consist of the back 5 books, 6 through 10, with a 10 to 15 year time jump between these arcs. Brandon has said that Stormlight 5 will have a satisfying conclusion, and I think we can derive from this that the book will feel like a finale, and that most of the major plot threads will be concluded. That being said, certain things will have to be left open or teased since there will be an eventual 6th book. But I don't believe Brandon wants to leave us feeling cheated while having to wait for Stormlight 6, which based on what Brandon has said will likely have a larger gap between releases. While he takes a much deserved break from Stormlight and writes some other Cosmere stories to fill in some blanks, with Mistborn Era 3, recently named Ghostbloods, and the long-awaited Elantris sequels. And with that, all we can do is wait. Should a bunch more info get revealed prior to release, I will likely make a part 2 to this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more Cosmere invested content. Until next time.